So the next game for the Rugby Championship, Argentina against the All Blacks, is not too far away. The Pumas have been in the country for a few days now. All Blacks have had their week off. Some of them played in the Mitre 10 Cup over the weekend, or the week gone. And yeah, there's a few changes, more so for the All Blacks than for the Argentinians, but I'll put both teams in the description so you guys can have a look at the full lineups. I think if you're an All Blacks fan, there's, I guess, finally a fair bit to look forward to just in terms of seeing what the depth is like and how some of these guys, one in particular, will go in that black jersey. So between these two teams, obviously Argentina has never beaten the All Blacks. They've been close and there's been one draw. But obviously the last five, given that the All Blacks have never lost to the Pumas, it's 5-0 to the All Blacks. So with coming on to the Rugby Championship still has not brought any joy in terms of the Argentinians against the New Zealanders. This Rugby Championship, though, the All Blacks have looked really sharp. They are 2-0 against Australia, two pretty convincing wins. Argentina, yeah, mixed bag. In that first game, good but kind of well beaten. In that second game, opposite. They kind of made the Springboks look good at times but beat them pretty well. So there's still a lot to look forward to in terms of Mario Ledesma's reign. With Argentina, they are looking pretty sharp. That being said, over those last 5 games, the All Blacks have averaged 39 points to the Argentinians 17. So on paper, especially being in New Zealand, it looks to be a pretty one-sided affair, just based on the history. But obviously, in sports, you never know. And yeah, that history doesn't really count for anything on the day. That being said, the teams, the number one guy on everybody's lips in New Zealand here is Richie Mo'unga. Finally getting a shot at 10. It's probably earlier than most of us thought. We kind of thought it might be the last game of the Rugby Championship. Once, in theory, New Zealand had won it all, if things pan out the way they have been so far. But he's been called in early. I guess it's kind of a nicer way to be eased into it, and that you're at home. So there is that about it. And they're giving some of the more big-name players like Barrett a rest. Aaron Smith is another one. Perenara is playing. So, yeah, it's going to be a big test for Richie. Everyone's been calling for it. Crusaders fans have been calling for it. Even I've wanted to see it. For me, it's mainly because we all know Barrett is very good, and that has not changed. But we need to see what Richie Mo'unga can do when he is in the All Black jersey and is under the pressure of the international scene, which is a step up from Super Rugby. So the guy seems to have bags of talent, so fingers crossed he can kind of handle the pressure. So far, at Super Rugby level, he has always done the business. Like I said, Perenara is in. Toiroa Tahuriorangi will probably get his debut for the All Blacks because he's on the bench for halfback cover, so there's no Aaron Smith. You look at the second row, Barrett's in for Sam Whitelock, who's on the bench. Frizell, Savea and Reed are your 6, 7 and 8 for the All Blacks. Luke Whitelock is on the bench there, so there's definitely a bit of combinations being mixed up there as well. Nehe Milner-Skudder gets a run after a couple of games for Manawatu in the Mitre 10 Cup. He's back fit, so Ben Smith's at 15. Naholo continues on the left wing with Rico Ioane not being available. For the Pumas, less in the way of changes, nothing quite so dramatic, but Escudo's on the bench after having a really good game in Argentina for that last game he played. De La Fuente starts at 12. Landajo starts at 9, so there's no Betrano in this team at all. It's Kubeli on the bench. We haven't seen him for a while. Did he play from the bench last week? Or last Rugby Championship week? I think he might have. Figaro has obviously been playing for Saracens over in the Premiership since that season has started, so he is not propping the scrum. Garcia, Bota, Crevi and Chaparro make up your front row for the Pumas. Matera is on the bench, which is a kind of big name to be not playing there. Lezana starts at 6, and Montoya is obviously back, so he is covering for Crevi as the kind of the backup hooker. So both of these teams, in certain positions, you would have to say, I don't know if you would say weaker, but they are definitely more inexperienced. Steve Hansen has kind of talked up the Argentinians based on that last performance where they beat the Box, and he has kind of said that what they are also trying to do is grow experience and depth among those All Blacks players. which is another way of saying he's not playing his best team. But I think it's probably the right time to be doing this now because there's not that many tests to play before Rugby World Cup 2019. So if he's going to start building combinations, time is kind of the essence. Argentina as well, you get the feeling when you see guys like Matera on the bench, Bertrano's not getting a game. Maybe they're targeting next week against Australia. I don't know, maybe I'm doing some of the guys who have been selected a disservice, but it just kind of has a little bit of that feeling about it. I mean, when you look at what the bookies say, they have got the All Blacks winning by 27 points. So they are giving the Argentinians no chance in this one. At home, New Zealand is very, very hard to beat, and they do look on very good form this season. So it's going to be a tough one. Hopefully it's a good game. Hopefully it's not a blowout. Be nice to get a close game. But yeah, we will see. Mo'unga is obviously going to have the eyes of all New Zealand rugby fans and rugby fans around the world on him, so we'll see if he can live up to that pressure. What do you guys think of the lineups? Like I said, in the descriptions, have a look. What are your predictions? Do you think the All Blacks are going to blow this one out like the bookies say? Or do you think the Argentinians will bring their A game? Away from home is always tough, but we will see. You guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.